Hi guys, what's up? What's down? What's sideways? James here for chronic fatigue syndrome. My friend, my enemy, my constant companion. It is day 28, 30, 41. 41? Let's say 41. I control the numbers. Um, what I thought I'd share today is so I've shared before about making decisions when you're in a not a happy place, because they can just muck you up when you finally get into a good place. But what I want to share is I don't know if a lot of people without chronic illnesses know this, and it's certainly very visible when you have a chronic illness and you go and talk to other people or you read what other people write. But there's this underlying fear, this constant fear, and it's fear, anxiety, like it sits on your chest sometimes and squeezes your chest, and it's this fear of. So when you first start, when you first have it, you'll have like on the support groups like, hey, I've had chronic fatigue syndrome for a year. When will I get better? Um, or I think the worst one is, hey, me or my child has just been diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. What can I do? Is there a cure? I'm like, no, there's no cure. And no, it's not going to get easier. And I really hope that if you've got chronic fatigue syndrome, you've got a variation that will pass, as opposed to, you now have it for the rest of your life. So it's so when you first go, it's this fear of the unknown because the doctors can't help, the alternative medicines can't help, your local gardener can't help, um, and so there's this fear of the unknown, and that comes a lot for like the support group, like the support people, parents of sick kids and stuff like that. There's that kind of like, what do I do? You know, this is a child that's supposed to be running around and being rambunctious, and you know, I want to be yelling out like, "You need to come home. You're doing, like stop playing," or, it's bath time. Not kind of, oh, they're so quiet. I wish they'd make some noise. Um, so there's fear there. There's so much fear, and then when you've got it as a child, so I'll speak from my own experience now. Um, there's that fear of like, oh, well, I'm not feeling well, and it's awful. It's I don't have a I don't have a strong enough gradient on the word awful. Um, it's awful because like it's the unknown, no one can help, and your body's doing some strange stuff, just strange stuff, um, really strange stuff. And then as you get older, there's this fear like, how do I look after myself? How do I function? How do I thrive in a world which is not designed for people with chronic fatigue syndrome? I need money to look after myself. To get money conventionally, I have to be able to uh, put energy into a job or a business or something like that. So I have limited energy to put towards work, which means I have limited money, which means I have limited resources to look after myself. My food bill would be quite high, ideally, just because of the food types I'd eat. I'm not talking like gourmet stuff, but just the foods and the supplements to my diet that I'd need to keep myself going, um, isn't small. Like I grew up learning how to budget quite well for food. I would exceed um, that budget today, and taking into consideration inflation and stuff like that. But yeah, it costs like I don't spend any money on medicine, but I will spend a little bit of money on food and supplements. I don't take a lot of supplements. I only take what works for me, um, and I've weeded out what doesn't. Like, there's no point taking triple distilled frog's tongue. Tried that, doesn't work. Um, so yeah, there's this fear, and it's awful, and it sits on your chest, and the thing about it is, like, if you're having a normal day, you can kind of, it becomes background noise. You know, you have the I can do anything, wow, and then on the days that you're not feeling good, you kind of get hit by the fear of the future. You get hit by the mental strain of it, and then you've also got the physical strain of it, the constant physical strain of it. And so there's a lot of fear of the unknown, of not being able to look after yourself, of being dependent on someone else. You've got to make money, but you don't always have the energy to go to work. And if you do go to work, you're going to come home and crash. So your life pretty much is wake up, work, crash. Wake up, work, crash. Oh, I've got to wash, eat, do laundry, and interact with people. I want to, but I'm wash. I like now I'm not washed, but now I'm working crash, working crash. Then it depends on, like, to what degree of chronic fatigue syndrome you have. Like, are you completely bedridden, or can you sometimes get up during the day, or are you to the point now where you're just kind of a little bit constantly tired, or you've gone into what people like to call a remission? Um, I know of people who've had chronic fatigue syndrome and supposedly got better. Kind of like, did they have chronic fatigue syndrome, and did they just have chronic fatigue? Because you can be a normal, healthy person and be chronically fatigued because you just ran yourself down, life, circumstances, stuff like that. You can recover from it. Um, my mum was told when I was a child, she was told, like basically chronic fatigue syndrome is not compatible with the normal societal life. She was told, if you were like a really rich and famous footballer of the day, said, if you were this person, Kerry Pack, no, not Kerry, I'm not going to try, rich and famous sport athlete, the doctor said, if you were this person, I would tell you to go to your private island for a year and take a year off life. And the funny thing is, like, X decades down the track, I've heard that be said again. You know, if you had the money, I'd say just have a year off life. All those, raise your hand, who can have a year off life? Not a lot of us. So the fear is real, or is it? Like, what is fear? The fear is real, and it sits heavy on the chest, and it always feels worse when you feel worse. So, there's that part of you that wants someone to come along, give you a hug, and go, there, it's okay. You know, it can get quite tiring, always being strong, always, keeping your chin up, always pushing forward, always trying to make the best of it. It can get quite tiring, and there are times when it'd be nice to just table flip and go, nah. The problem with doing that is that if you do that, life still continues on. So if you've got work in the morning and you table flip, work still happens. If you've got family and you table flip, family is still there. If you've got commitments or goals and you table flip, they're still there. So, you know, if table flipping was a precursor to having a much needed break, like, whoa, James just table flipped. Here's your 1 year living allowance package to do whatever you want. You know, like, like, that's real. You need to have your year off now. If that was a real thing, I think a lot of us would table flip straight up. Just, you know, why wait till you get to the 20+ year mark? But that's not the case, because the real world doesn't care if you've table flip or not. It doesn't care if you've had too much. It doesn't care if you're tired of being strong all the time. It doesn't care how you're feeling. It's indifferent. It marches on. And then people are like, oh, the world is cruel. No, it's this that we occupy the same world where all the good things happen too. Like, oh, I hate chronic fatigue syndrome and my life, blah, is awful, blah. Like, yeah, but you're in the same world where all the good things that can happen to you as well. So it's not just the bad. It's just that you feel bad now. It feels worse. It's exasperated. It's awful. It's awful. However, you still exist in the world where good things can happen. I had a day today where it was like swings and roundabout, like really good news, but I personally didn't have a good day. But the people I came in contact didn't know that. I still helped people in their goals as well, because part of my goals is helping others. So it's still the world where good things can happen. But the fear is very real. So if you have someone in your life who's got a chronic illness, understand that there is an element of fear or uncertainty or anxiety, whatever you want to put it. There is that element constantly in their life. And it's always nice when we can find a bit of comfort and we don't have to, we can find a bit of comfort and we don't have to quite feel it intensely all the time. So, but life is good, guys. Or I should say, there are good things in life. It's not all, chronic fatigue syndrome is evil. It's a non-sentient thing, guys. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Introduce yourself, like, share, subscribe, and thank you very much for letting me share with you today's chronic fatigue syndrome day report thing.